hidden away in a small village nestled among peaceful mountains and forests. Steve seemed to have everything one could dream of: a cozy home, a loving family, and a life of comfort. From the outside, everything looked serene, but deep within, Steve's mind was a storm of chaos with no way out. Each morning, instead of waking up feeling refreshed and ready for a new day, Steve was engulfed by a heavy, nameless dread. He constantly questioned himself. Am I good enough? Am I doing everything wrong? Are people judging me? These thoughts repeated like a broken record, stealing his focus and draining the joy from everything he did. Gradually, Steve withdrew. He avoided gatherings, severed close connections, and felt lost even in the most familiar places. Joy faded, motivation disappeared, and what remained was a version of himself slowly losing direction. Negativity didn't just crush Steve's spirit, it suffocated the best parts of him: his creativity, his empathy, and his desire to live. After months lost in his own darkness, Steve finally hit his limit. One sleepless night, he stepped outside, looked up at the star-filled sky, and felt overwhelmingly small. One question echoed in his mind: how long can I live like this? Unable to continue alone, Steve decided to seek out someone the villagers whispered about: a reclusive monk deep in the forest, said to understand the mind and guide the lost. They called him Master Riku. The journey was not easy. He walked rugged paths, climbed steep hills, and crossed icy streams, yet each step felt like a cleansing, as if Steve was slowly shedding the burdens in his heart, moving towards something new. When he finally reached the monk's home, Steve said nothing. He simply sat beside Master Riku, a gentle-faced man with eyes so deep they seemed to see into the soul. Without a question, without a word, Riku watched Steve with a strange, serene compassion, as if he had been waiting for him all along. Soon after, Riku brought out a clear glass jar. "Fetch water from the stream," he said. Steve did. When he returned, the monk scooped a bit of muddy soil and dropped it into the jar. The water instantly clouded. Just a small amount of dirt was enough to make the once clear water murky. This is your mind when it's filled with thoughts, especially negative ones, Riku said calmly. It doesn't take much to blur everything you see. Steve stared at the jar, heavy-hearted. He had never seen anything reflect his emotional state so clearly. Now put it down. Do nothing, Riku said. They sat in silence, surrounded by gentle nature. Minutes passed. Then, something magical began to happen. The mud slowly settled to the bottom, and the water above turned clear again. You see? The monk smiled. You don't have to force thoughts away. Just let them settle. As the muddy water cleared, Steve felt like he had witnessed a miracle, not of magic, but of letting go. For the first time, he understood he didn't need to struggle against his negative thoughts. They weren't enemies to defeat, but clouds to watch drift by. Sitting quietly by the stream, something opened within him, yet one deep question remained. How can I stop letting my thoughts control me? Master Riku smiled, his gaze reflecting timeless wisdom. You can't stop the river of thoughts, but you can learn to guide it with 3 principles. First principle: awareness. Learn to recognize thoughts as they arise. Most people are led by thoughts they're not even aware of. When you become conscious of your thinking, you reclaim your power. Second principle: conscious choice. Every thought is a seed. When a negative seed appears, like "I'm not good enough" or "I'll fail," you can choose not to water it. Replace it with empowering thoughts like "I'm learning" or "I'm capable of change." Third principle: nurture the mind. The mind is like the body, it grows stronger with daily care. Meditate, read positive content, and avoid things that weigh you down. After meeting Master Riku, Steve stopped searching for an escape from his thoughts. He began the journey inward, slowly, but with quiet resolve. Each day, he spent a few minutes just breathing and observing his mind. He didn't try to push negative thoughts away but welcomed them as a natural part of being human. Sleepless nights became fewer. The questions that once haunted him, what if I fail? What if everything goes wrong? No longer had power over him. Steve began noticing patterns in his thinking. He tracked moments when his mind became chaotic and asked himself, is this real? Or just an assumption? He focused on nurturing uplifting emotions, meditating, reading inspiring books, journaling his gratitude at the end of each day, and spending time with people who energized him. Change didn't come overnight, but little by little, Steve felt free, not because the negative thoughts disappeared, but because they no longer dictated his life. Amid life's noise, he found inner stillness. Today, when someone asks Steve the secret to a peaceful life, he simply smiles and says, I no longer try to silence my mind. I've learned to listen with understanding. Steve now sees that the mind is not an enemy. Thoughts come and go. That's their nature. But how we respond to them defines the quality of our lives. He was once lost in the chaos of his inner world, slowly losing himself. Now, he no longer fights his thoughts, he observes, chooses, and nurtures his mind like a gardener tending to sacred soil. Steve is not perfect, nor free from life's challenges. But he is steady, no longer a prisoner of his mind. Peace, he realizes, isn't the absence of noise, but the ability to remain calm within, even when the world outside screams. So if you, too, are lost in your own worries, remember this. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who chooses what to believe. And that is the beginning of freedom. If Steve's story touched your heart, if you saw a part of yourself in his struggles, don't forget to like this video to support our channel. Subscribe so you won't miss more inspirational stories, a space where we grow, heal, and explore the inner world together. And if you know someone fighting their own battles with their mind, share this video with them. Sometimes, a gentle reminder is all it takes to change a life. Thank you for listening. See you in the next story.